Hey guys, and welcome back to Fringe Friday. I am Carmen, and today we are going to be watching Season 3, Episode 3. I do not know the name of it, but I am excited. I always say I'm excited, but I'm always excited to watch more Fringe, you know? I will be very, very sad when the day comes and I watch the last episode and then I don't have any more Fringe to watch. Luckily, that is not today. We still have quite a bit to get through. Whew. So let's do a quick recap so we're all in the good. We're all oriented in time and space. Okay, so last time on Fringe, or the last couple of times, Olivia got trapped in World B, and they started giving her these injections to make her think that she is the Olivia of World B, and just messing with her memories and trying to replace her memories with that Olivia's memories, which it seemed like it kind of worked at the end of the episode, but I have faith in my girl, in our girl, Olivia, and I believe that she realized the situation that she was in, understood the only way that she can go home is to work with these people and pretend to be their Olivia. So it is my fervent hope that that is what is happening and that she is gonna pull the con of all cons on them and make them think that she thinks that she's their Olivia while secretly knowing that she's our Olivia and working from the inside to get back home. That's my hope. We also had Peter and the other Olivia in our world and really cute Peter and Walter moments. We had disturbing Peter and Olivia moments, I would say, because again, we're aware of the fact that that is not our Olivia and Peter is not. I'm not going to harp. I might probably will harp a lot on the lack of consent in these interactions, but it needs to be addressed. You know, there can be no consent when one party is unaware of who the other person is. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to harp on it too much in the beginning, though. I think that we all know where we are. Is this episode going to take place in World A? Is this episode going to take place in World B? The only way that we can find that out is by pressing the play button. So let's do it. Let's do it. Oh, I'm so nervous. Crendels. Is this like Kroger's, but it's the other world? I'm taking it out for now. Sorry, you guys. No, Aruba War. Okay, this is the other world. I'm relatively positive. Is that him, or is it just like the vibration from the street? Or what's he doing? Is he somehow gonna make the pen do something? Okay, it's gonna do something to the biker, right? Oh, he's gonna pick it up. The biker. Domino effect, right? Something's gonna happen to her. She's gonna cross the street. He's not looking. Why did that guy kill her, though? Yeah, okay, we're in the other world. But why did he kill her? Like, what was his purpose for killing her? And, like, isn't it weird that, like, one thing, like a pen, could make all of that happen? I'm trying to figure out if I'm right or not regarding her. She kind of looks like she's scoping the place out.
You do remember me, right?
Of course she does.
You're that tightwad that owes me $70.
Damn it. I was hoping you'd forget about that.
And what about our Agent Dunham? Has she made contact?
He's on the other side, focused on the task at hand.
Mm-hmm.
Permission to speak, Mr. Secretary.
Ooh, what's he gonna say?
Go ahead.
I'm curious as to what
Putting an imposter on my team is too big a risk.
We have no other choice. You don't know what we have to gain.
Which is what exactly?
Ooh.
Sit down.
I hate when people say sit down. Be like, What's gonna happen? Tell me.
She can move between worlds.
Yeah.
If we can learn what she already knows.
We can begin to defend ourselves.
Olivia, girl, I really hope that you're turning this on its head on them.
And what if a new identity doesn't hold?
It should no longer be necessary.
All right. I do not like Walternet, you know? Like, just not a fan. Not a fan.
Listen, when I pulled that gun on you, I didn't know what I was doing. If something had happened.
But nothing happened. You and I were good.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I just really want it to be her, you know? Want her to be her.
I never hit a person before. Never.
Well, I would hope not. Like, this is the 8th person I've hit. Like, the pen. Yeah. Do some investigating stuff.
Wait, you got something?
When's the last time you saw one of these?
Got a pen? I don't know. Preschool, maybe?
Oh. Okay, so pens are rare in this world. Weird.
It's pretty rare finding one of these just lying around.
Maybe the old guy bent down to pick it up and...
Oh, that's why he was excited.
The pen started some kind of
Chain event. Chain reaction. Yeah. I know he's not really there. It's in her mind. She saw Peter. Herself's trying to come through, right?
Sorry, I thought I recognized him.
You okay?
Yeah, she's fine.
something weird definitely happened to you.
Yes, okay. Olivia, bits of who she really is are peeking through. That's good, that's good.
I saw a face.
Face?
Do you remember the secretary's son? The one who was kidnapped when he was a boy? No. Him.
Okay.
Did you tell Broyles?
No.
Maybe you shouldn't be on field duty.
She should.
I know, but you have to tell someone.
No.
I need my life back, Frank.
And I love your gung-ho attitude. If you need help, that's fine.
Frank, it was my first day back. I was nervous.
I can take myself off call. Maybe it's not a good time to travel.
That's not what I want. Are those avocados? Where did you get them?
Coffees, avocados, pens, things are rare.
If it happens again.
It won't.
But if it does, you'll tell Broyles, right? Because I love you.
You know that doesn't feel right. You know that you don't care, right?
I'll tell him.
She's lying.
Can we eat?
Yes, we can eat.
Okay.
Okay.
Put it together, hun. Put it together and pretend. Okay? That's what I need in my heart and in my soul.
You let a doppelganger cold cock you with a bottle because you didn't pick up on the fact that she wasn't your partner.
And you would have.
I just know Liv a little better, that's all.
Because you kissed her one time.
How was I supposed to know she had a boyfriend?
Okay.
I would have known.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that. When she was having her breakdown, she kept on and on about how they were trying to make her believe she was somebody else. This is gonna sound nuts.
Yes, put it together, put it
What
together.
if she's telling the truth?
Yes.
What if it's not the real her?
Put it together and work with her.
That is nuts.
You're right. All right.
You're asking me if it is possible for a person to use a ballpoint pen to set off a chain of events that culminates in someone getting killed by a bus twice?
Yeah.
There's no way.
Well, he did it.
What is it?
It happened again. Bus accident, East 85th and York.
Not impossible. Improbable, but not impossible.
Ma'am, you need to stay still.
Pen.
It's not over.
Yeah, something's gonna happen now. That guy. Yeah, that's him.
He's still here! Stop! Don't move!
What's he doing? But why? Like, well, what's his purpose? Like, why is he trying to hurt these people? I don't get it.
The victims must have something in common. There's gotta be a connection we're not seeing.
Oh, God. Okay, Lincoln,
Hurry, get in.
Where have you been? They've been calling all day.
What did you tell them?
Nothing.
97% of your actions prioritize relational bonds over other variables. 8 out of 9 times you avoid making decisions that could result in a negative outcome.
Okay.
All I want is
It's
for
for
you
you
to
to be safe. That's all I've ever wanted for you. Go again.
stop finishing my sentences and let me help you.
Trust me, Milo. I've always been there for you. I've always taken care of you.
Okay. What's that?
Don't.
You didn't expect that, did you? Because you've forgotten what it's like to feel emotions.
No.
Mom gave you this as a reminder that you didn't have to do more than you were able to. Or we loved you.
Okay. What's going on?
That's irrelevant now.
Milo, please. I made a mistake. When I signed you up, I didn't mean this.
Signed him up for what?
You have to do what they say.
What?
Remember this.
What? Who? What rules? What's overreaching? Like, what? Does he have some? I mean, obviously he has some sort of gift for something, but.
Hey, Charlie.
Yeah.
Since when do we need a code?
They upgraded system last month. You remember?
I guess I'm still getting over head trauma.
Hey, Liv. You remember that time when we were in Coney Island? We were riding the hellhole together, right? You got sick. You threw up on the guy next to you.
Is he lying to see if she'll go with it?
Except you threw up all over the person next to you, so you can stop trying to rewrite history.
He's testing her, right?
The victim worked at Bryant Hospital, right?
Yeah, Cole Arnett.
Okay, it says here that Gregston Electric owns a subsidiary company called the Ivan Medical Group. The Ivan Medical Group is also listed as one of Bryant Hospital's outside vendors.
Okay. So maybe they did something to him and he's taking it out on them. She's getting glimpses of the people she loves.
What about this woman?
Yes, Jillian Foster. She worked with the Ivan Medical Group. They were conducting a drug trial here.
Drug trial. Cortexavan?
Jeffrey Mayer. I don't understand. He was killed too.
Who is he?
You're looking for a patient.
Okay.
We started this study a year ago. All of our test subjects started with an IQ of less than 65. Our aim was to increase their intelligence so they could function independently day to day.
Oh, can you go back?
That guy. She recognized him.
This was Milo 5 months ago. Measured IQ of 56, severe cognitive deficiency.
He's reciting the digits of pi.
To 1,000 decimal places while solving differential equations in his head.
That is unbelievable.
That was after one treatment. We gave him 5.
Damn.
Jeffrey Mayer.
A recovery specialist who we contract with if somebody goes missing.
Mm-hmm.
I only put the order in yesterday. Mr. Mayer had not yet been assigned the task.
Dang. He knows, because he can think that many steps ahead, right? Well, he knows that y'all are there, so that's not good. Is he figuring out what's gonna happen? But people behave in unpredictable, illogical ways. So how could he know for sure exactly what they would do? Or is he just putting human behavior down to like a math, a science, right?
Ah, you seem close.
We were. He was a lot older, but he liked the same cartoons.
I had the opposite. My sister and I were close in age, but we fought over everything.
Are you close now?
They are. In the right world.
When I was little, I used to always be scared that something would happen to Milo. I worried that he'd never be happy. He'd never feel like he belonged.
Oh.
Must have been hard watching him struggle.
It's harder for him. That's why I agreed to the drug study.
Yeah, makes sense.
He isn't that helpless person anymore. He's dangerous, and I think you know that. If there's anything that you can think of.
I mean, he's still her brother, though, right? He left that for her?
It's a goodbye note. It says where I can reach him.
Suppose he predicts you'll go there. But then he'll predict that so you don't go.
So we shouldn't go.
But then he predicts that you predicted that.
Exactly.
Then he predicts that you'll predict what he predicted too.
It's too complicated. The thing is, you can't definitely predict everything, though, right? Again, because humans are illogical, so even if you can see all the variables, you can't figure out which one is going to be the one that happens. Every time, I mean, right? There's a margin of error. I would imagine. I don't know, maybe I'm just supposed to suspend my disbelief, right? It's Fringe after all.
Charlie, there he is.
Unless he is making the outcome that he wants to happen. But even still, like a moment of hesitation could change everything. And it's not like he knows the people, like who they are. He hasn't done research well enough to know like what choices they'll make given what situations. Right? I don't know. I mean, of course, it's all going according to his plan right now, but... Yeah, she didn't grab the thing.
Well, that was supposed to happen.
I mean, of course, it's because she's not Olivia, or that Olivia, right?
You move again! The next one won't be in your leg, buddy.
Of course, he couldn't predict her because she's the other Olivia, but that's what I mean. Human behavior, unpredictable.
He passed by an Auburn diamond, okay? They compromised air quality.
Pressure's normal.
You need oxygen to breathe.
Charlie, I'm sorry. I don't really even know why I did that.
Because you're a daredevil.
She did it because she didn't know that that's what it meant, because she was thinking with our Olivia brain and not their Olivia brain, right?
According to the doctors, the patterns that he sees are too complex to put into words. His thoughts now can only be interpreted by a machine.
So the machine is talking to him?
Kind of.
He no longer thinks in terms that you or I would be able to comprehend.
Just numbers, mathematical equations.
I'm sorry.
It's actually really sad. Like, she was trying to help her brother, and now through that, she lost her brother completely. Maybe he'll remember the little horsey?
Consecutive square T1 and T2 cubed, but then derives a gradient vector of...
I was hopeful he would remember it. Okay. Walternet. I do not trust you. What are you doing?
These are my son's clothes.
Yes.
It's good thinking. Submerge the subject in water.
Okay. Like Olivia did. Who's the subject?
This one.
Being a scientist.
Oh.
I'm still a scientist, Brandon. I just have a much larger laboratory.
The whole frickin' world. I did see a flicker of emotion when he saw Peter's clothes, though.
You know why you didn't die today, right? Because you didn't know the protocol. If you'd stopped for oxygen, you'd be dead right now.
He's right.
But you did something that he couldn't factor in. You kept running.
Because she's our Olivia.
You know why you did that. It's the same reason you thought you saw Walter in the hospital.
The same reason you think you're seeing me now.
You're not from this world, Olivia.
true.
I am here, and I'm the part of you that you have to hold on to.
He's the part that wants you to fight.
You can't forget who you are, Olivia.
Yes, yes, yes.
You can't forget where you're from.
Yes, yes, yes.
You can't forget this.
Go away.
What's wrong?
You, shoo. Go on your trip.
Nothing, you just surprised me, that's all.
You all right?
Mm-hmm. She's fine. She's better than fine.
It's just I'm gonna miss you.
I miss you too.
Thank you, Figment Peter.
Will you call me when you land?
You can stay gone for a while, dude. It's fine. Bye. Goodbye. Come on, girl. It's at the end. Yeah, okay. Okay. This is I'm so hyped. I'm so hyped. I'm just gonna dance it out to the music because I feel relief. All right, you guys, I am so stoked to talk about this episode, in particular the end. I feel like a sense of relief because you guys know, I talked about it in the first episode, right? It was such an emotional, it was so hard to go through that episode and to see Olivia struggling so much to hold on to who she is and in the end sort of losing that. And I really didn't want to spend a great deal of time with Olivia thinking that she's the other Olivia and losing our Olivia in the process, right? So to have this episode and to see that part of her brain, her heart, whatever you want to call it, fighting so hard to remember who she is, to hold on to who she is, no matter what drugs and stuff that they've put her through, is it's such a relief to me. It's such a massive relief to see the embodiment of that part of her fighting as Peter, and he is the sort of physical representation that her mind is choosing for home and for getting back to who she is. And so much of that is wrapped up in Peter. It makes my heart so happy because she told Peter that our world, I say our, world A, their world, whatever, is his world, right? Like he might not belong there, but he belongs with her. And so I think that it's really beautiful and telling that her mind assigns the image of Peter to home, to her world, to where she belongs. It's not here. It's with Peter in the other world. And you guys know. You guys know that my little shippery heart loves it. I love it. I love it so much. But I also love that, not just as a shipper, I love it because I want Olivia to fight for herself, for her world, for her home and her family. And I love that Peter is the first person in a very long time, maybe even in forever, really, that she has been able to be every part of herself with, right? He has let her feel safe, He has allowed her to feel safe and comfortable and vulnerable, being every aspect of who she is. And so I think it's really important that the relationship that they've built and the family that she's built with him and with Walter, as she did see Walter in this as well, is so significant and important to her, that that's what her brain is conjuring up as, like, wake up, this isn't where you belong, these people aren't your people, you have a home and people who love you, and you have to fight to get back to it. And I I love it so much, and I think that it's so significant that it's Peter. And I think, like I said, just it's not only indicative of the fact that she loves Peter and she is in love with Peter and that's, you know, her home, but it's also indicative of who she is. Because again, I think Peter allows her to be all of the complex, multidimensional, vulnerable, strong, beautiful, just everything. He allows her to be her all-encompassed self. And so I think that it's really beautiful that he is the representation of home for her because of that and because she fucking loves him. Like I said in the beginning of this episode, I kind of hoped that Olivia was playing along or at some point would play along, and that she would be able to hold on to a part of herself that would continue to fight to get home. And that is exactly what is happening. Obviously, she was a little bit brainwashed into believing that she was there, Olivia, but there was a part of her, you know, in the corner of her mind, wherever, that was fighting to be like, hey, this isn't your world. These aren't your people. Like, come on. And so I really love to see that aspect of it and to see her fighting. Like I said, I'm just going to harp on this the entire post-episode discussion, but I love that she's fighting and that there is that piece of her. And I hope that she is able to completely trick these other people, bamboozle them. I am okay with Charlie maybe figuring it out and Lincoln and hopefully helping her to get back to her world because they love and care about their Olivia and want her back, right? So I think that could be a really cool storyline if they go with that, because they do have a person, like they have a vested interest in getting their Olivia back, right? Because they love her and care for her. So they should have a vested interest in getting our Olivia back to our world so that they can have their Olivia back, you know? Hopefully. Also loved the tiny conversation between Charlie and Lincoln, like, well, I would know if it wasn't her. Would you? It's really hard to tell, sort of thing, because they both don't know that it's not her now. Although Charlie is sus of it, and like I said, kind of here for it if they figure out and help our girl out. I also have to mention, because I have been hard on Walternet in the past, and I still think that the criticism of Walternet and his choices is deserved, because while he is trying to save his world, he is willing to sacrifice his son for that. And I just don't think that our Walter would ever make that choice, you know? And he also has done a lot of messed up stuff in order to save his world, right? But I did see in this episode a few instances where he like peeled back the mask and you saw the vulnerability in his eyes. And one, John Noble is an incredible actor, so of course there's going to be complexity and multidimensionality in his character and in his characterization of Walternet. I love how distinctly he plays Walternet versus Walter, and even the vulnerability in Walternet is different from the vulnerability we see in Walter. And so that is incredible. All the props to John Noble. He is always incredible in everything that I've seen him in. Even if I much prefer him in this than in Sleepy Hollow or Elementary or other things I've seen him in, where his character is a bit more abrasive. More like Walternet than Walter, I would say. Although, like, Henry and Sleepy Hollow had a lot of depth and dimension in him as well. But that's a discussion for a different day. What I wanted to talk about was the moment with Peter's clothes in the end when he's talking to Brandon, who I think we've probably been told his name before but did not remember. So the scientist guy from Massive Dynamic in our world. And when he's looking at Peter's clothes, there's this moment of beautiful, tragic, really, vulnerability in his face. Like, he's sad. That's his son. I think a part of him wants Peter back, just to have Peter back. I mean, his son was kidnapped over 20 years ago, and he finally got him back. And I think that a part of him wants to keep him, right? But he also feels an obligation and a duty to protect the entire world. And yeah, it was such a great moment to see that vulnerability and that sadness in his eyes when he sees Peter's clothes, because this, at the end of the day, everything else that he is, he's a father who lost his child. What our Walter did, aside from what he did to their world, was he made this Walternet, go through the same thing he went through in a lot of ways, because while his Peter died, this Walternet lost his son as well. And I think that our Walter versus this Walter are sort of different two sides of the same coin in regards to what losing Peter does to Walter. And the effects in both instances are devastating, and the repercussions are felt throughout both worlds. And I think what a beautiful and tragic story that Fringe is telling about family and a father's love for their son, and what devastating ripple effects that losing someone you love as much as Walter loved Peter, again in both worlds, can have on your entire world. You know, obviously Fringe is telling it on a more massive scale, but I think that the message of how important family is and can be to people, and the ripple effects of losing that on your entire life and everything that you are, is at the heart of the story that Fringe is telling. And I think it's a really beautiful story. Like, as sci-fi as Fringe is, and as much as I love the sci-fi element of Fringe, at the heart it is a family drama, and it's a beautiful one, you know? And I think that that's what great sci-fi is, not to get on a little pedestal, but sci-fi is my heart and my soul. I love it so much. And I think that what great sci-fi does is it illuminates the humanity in all of us, and how incredibly important connections are, and love is, and just all of the very human aspects of being human, you know, like loss and love and grief, and, you know, just the psychological effects of trauma, and just baggage and everything that you carry with you in your life, and the connections that you make with other people, and all of that. All that it is to be human is what great sci-fi illuminates. And Fringe does it so beautifully. So beautifully. I'm sorry, that was a tangent, but as a Star Trek lover, you know, the original series is my heart and my soul. I love good sci-fi so much. And Fringe is great sci-fi. So, yeah. Speaking of family and sci-fi and the family dynamics of this show, this episode is another great example of just a display of family dynamics, right? A very tragic one, honestly, because the sister loved her brother so much and wanted to protect him so much, and I'm not going to get emotional, I feel it coming on, that she put him in this trial to help him and to save him. And in the end, her love is kind of what doomed him. And I think that that's really fucking sad. And it's also a parallel to Walter and Peter's story in both worlds, right? Walter so loved Peter that his love for him kind of doomed him in a way, you know, in multiple different aspects and facets of the story. And it's just sad. It's sad because Walter's love is infinite and is unconditional, like the sister's love for her brother. And it's caused massive ripple effects that have ruined lives. Can I English today? Apparently not. And the sister's love for her brother was so unconditional and all-encompassing that her love for him caused massive ripple effects that ruined lives. And that's kind of a sad way to look at it, but I think that there's also a beauty and a hope in that kind of love, you know, because it doesn't always, right? I think that this episode also shows with Olivia and her seeing Peter, like her love for Peter, her love for her family that is back in the other world is what will save her and what will allow her to come back to herself and will hopefully ultimately allow her to save herself. So there's definitely multiple stories being told in this episode about love and the power of love and family dynamics, and it's sad and happy all at the same time, and that's kind of Fringe in a nutshell, isn't it? It's really interesting to me the different things that are different about this world. Like we saw in the beginning, like I can't remember the name of the store, but it was like Crenell's or something, and I was like, oh, is this supposed to be like Kroger, you know, in our world? And then there was just like subtle little differences, but also things like ballpoint pens being something that aren't really used anymore because everything's become digitalized, and avocados being super rare. I remember coffee is something that is only available to like the rich or people who have like connections in this world, right, from last season. It's just really, it's just really interesting the different sort of things that they can play with and distinguish our world from this other world. And it's kind of fun because watching it, we're like, yes, that's the other world. But it doesn't immediately click, like, why is this guy so fascinated by this pen that he goes and picks it up? Like, if you saw a pen fall in the streets, you would just be like, that was kind of weird. And that's all you would think. Like, you probably wouldn't go and pick up that pen, you know? Especially some generic Bic-looking, like, ballpoint pen, you know? You're not gonna go and pick it up. And he did, and he looked so interested. And I was just like, what is this guy? Like, why is he so happy about this pen? But then they come back and they bring it later, and you're like, oh, because this isn't something they see every day. Like, of course he's gonna be excited about a pen. It's like, I just love like the little tiny things like that they're able to do because we're in the other world. And now that we have Olivia fighting to be Olivia, I feel much more comfortable enjoying the differences in the worlds and seeing her interact with Charlie and Lincoln, knowing that there's a part of her that's going to be fighting to get back home. Like, that really calms me in a way and allows me to enjoy these interactions a lot more than I would have before. Something else that I talked about in the episode, so I feel like I should also reiterate here, is because the episode kind of showed as well, there's no way that he would consistently every single time be able to predict what people are going to do, because people don't always make logical choices, right? And without like an intense, deep study of the psyche of every person that he's trying to manipulate into place, there's no way that he could accurately, continuously predict the choices that that person would make. You know, obviously in Olivia's case, she didn't make the choice to grab her inhaler and stuff because she's not from that world, because she's our Olivia versus their Olivia. However, I still think that the principle of that applies to the situation, regardless if it was our Olivia or not, because there's just human behavior to an extent can be predicted, but I just have a hard time believing that you could, without fail, without any margin of error, consistently always predict what people are going to do in a given situation. You know what I mean? Just because, again, human behavior can be so illogical and so like sporadic and unpredictable, right? That's all I'm gonna say. And I know you guys are probably like, you really be accepting a lot of random shit on Fringe, but not this. And like, yes, I suspend my disbelief for a lot of things on Fringe because, you know, it's a science fiction show. Like, I'm okay with being like, you know, like if I'm watching science fiction, fantasy, whatever, if they're like, there's werewolves in this world, okay, then I'm gonna believe there's werewolves in this world. You know, like there's giant sewer monsters, there's whatever. Like, I'm okay with that. But Fringe also, I don't know. When you're starting to predict human behavior, it's such like, I feel, it's such a murky area that I feel the need to be like, at some point, regardless if Olivia was in our world or from that world, he's gonna run into somebody who doesn't make the logical choice, and it's gonna mess up his scenario. But I'm just saying. I'm also interested in the Broyles of this world. He seems very much like our Broyles, so I want to see more of him. I feel like we've only gotten like little glimpses of this Broyles, and we've definitely gotten a lot more of Charlie and Lincoln. So I want to see more of this Broyles and like figure him out, like suss him out and figure out like what his motivations are and who he is as a person, you know? I like that one of my notes is literally just Figment Peter is the best. So I know I've already talked about it, but I love Olivia seeing Peter and him being her connection to herself and our world. I love it so much. I cannot find words to describe it. Anyway, I think that I've rambled at you far enough, so I'm going to leave this episode here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching along with me. If you want, you can watch the next episode right now over on Patreon, which is linked in the description down below, as well as my full-length reaction to this episode. Sorry, I forgot how to talk for a second. And every episode thus far of Fringe, it is down there as well. It's on the same link. I really gotta leave you guys because I forgot how to talk. Anyway, I hope to see you guys in the next episode for more Fringe. Until then, bye guys.